Hello, everybody, and welcome to this evening's Roll20 Presents. As I think you can probably guess, we are playing a little bit of a different game this week. We're going to return to Mouse Guard. It was such a popular show when we did it before as our little one-off. Everybody was super excited about the adorable mice. I've added some new adorable mice to the overlay, so welcome back if you watched the earlier parts of Mouse Guard. If not, we'll take a little bit to talk about the rules and the characters beforehand, just to catch everybody up to speed. So
But we already know everything we need to know, Adam. There are adorable mice.
yeah, that's
Full
that's
stop.
that's fair. There's an adorable mice. They're mices, and we're just gonna frolic the whole time and have a great time, and nothing bad will ever happen. Just
Yay!
like last session, where nothing bad happened at all.
Right.
I mean, we prevented some bad things from happening,
That's true.
but some did happen regardless.
So the general premise, if you're unfamiliar with Mouse Guard, it is a role-playing game based on a series of comic books. There's also a board game now. It's designed by the same team that designed Burning Wheel, so you'll see lots of familiar stuff if you've been watching our Burning Wheel shows so far. So things like circles rolls and the general dice pool mechanic. That kind of stuff is very derivative of Burning Wheel. And in the game, the players take on the role of members of the Mouse Guard. So the Mouse Guard are a sort of there's a medieval society of mice. Let's just get that behind us now. There are no humans. Everyone plays mice. They're sort of semi-anthropomorphic. Not like a Disney level anthropomorphic. They look like mice. If you want more clarification, just Google image search Mouse Guard and just drown in adorable little furry creatures. But the Mouse Guard, the eponymous characters of the game, are basically protectors of mouse civilization. Because as a mouse, you've got a lot of things that want to kill you, including the weather and animals and everything else in the world, aside from maybe bugs. You're kind of low on the food chain. So what we do is we play as characters who are members of the Mouse Guard, who are there to guard and protect the realm of mouse kind, and they do so with cloak and sword and with science. They build mouse towns, they farm, and they keep the realm of mice alive. So let's talk a little bit about the characters that y'all are playing. We haven't played in a little while, so this might be some discovery for us too. So who is the? I know Andrew. We were just talking about this. Yeah, you're the bottom of the mouse hierarchy. You're the tender paw. You've not yet earned your cloak. Who's our leader? Our guard leader for this? Which of the two of you is it? Because I know one of you was...
It was Jess, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, is it Jasper?
Jasper is the patrol leader.
Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Jasper, you're our patrol leader.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right. And Jasper was like the kind of like, yes, we can do it. Like, let's go, mice. The guard is...
Blustery-old war hero.
That's right.
Yeah.
The guard is great, and everything is fantastic.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. You're 52, and you're a gray mouse patrol leader. And then Colin, you're playing Walmond. And Walmond was the kind of like grizzled, like you kind of given up on the struggle, right? Is that kind of Walmond's jam?
Yeah, I was just trying to refamiliarize myself here. It's like it seems a little contradictory. Like well, first of all, I'm pretty old.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was part of the Mouse Guard and whatever, and I'm disenchanted with it these days. And it sounds like I'm kind of a pacifist.
Yeah.
And wait, who's Lorelei?
That's me,
That's
the
okay.
tender paw.
Yeah, so I had the goal of like steering you away from the path of the Mouse Guard warmongering indoctrination.
That's right.
So yeah, I guess
That's right. Because your character, like you were all about, like, you're really good at fighting, but tried really hard throughout to just not to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
the sort of like retired warlord. Like you'd been in the. So this is, I guess this is a thing if you're not familiar with Mouse Guard. The Mouse Guard have fairly recently come out of a considerable large scale conflict with the weasels that live in the Dark Heather. And these weasels are bad news. Such bad news that the mice had to go to war with them. And so you're both Jasper and Walmond are veterans of that war, but have very different opinions of its impact on them as mice.
Hmm.
Cool, cool. Okay. Well, let's. I'm gonna pop over to the actual character screen here, so we can show the folks at home a little bit about these characters. So, if you watched the last episode, obviously you're already familiar with this stuff. But characters in Mouse Guard, like in Burning Wheel, are driven by what they fight for, why they're members of the Guard, what it is about mouse society that is, worth fighting for them, and those are mechanized through beliefs, goals, and instincts. So each character has a belief, and unlike Burning Wheel, this isn't necessarily something you want to like take action on. It's just something that drives your character. You want to play your belief at least once throughout the session, and if you do, you'll earn a fate point. So, Jasper, your belief in the, I'm using you as the example, your belief in the last session was that no task is too small for the good of a micehood, and I like that you put it all in caps. Like, I just imagine if it weren't for the fact that bald eagles would eat you immediately on sight, I just imagine Jasper like a flag flapping behind them, like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
for freedom, for mousehood.
He really likes accomplishing things.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes, sometimes you just gotta go to war with
Yep.
With the weasels.
Yep.
So your in addition to that, your character has something that's a little bit more concrete, something that they're driving towards very specifically. Now, this can be the mission that you're given by the leaders of the Mouse Guard. So each patrol is given a job basically, and it can be as simple as go to the next town and deliver the mail, or it can be, go and investigate a conspiracy in this far off settlement, or it can just be like go from town to town for the entire season, just making sure that everybody's okay, like just solve problems. So you can have a goal that is, do what we were told, just do the job. But you can also have goals that relate to your own character, something you want to accomplish. You can have them related to another character. So like in this case, you wanted to inspire Walmond that, the old gray furs can still get shit done.
Yep.
So this is something that the players will choose themselves after they're given their job by the Guard. And then lastly, and this ties a bit into the sort of anthropomorphic part of the game, all the characters have an instinct. Now, your instinct isn't just your natural biological inclinations to do stuff. That's built into your nature. Your instinct is something that your character does without thinking, basically. Some learned behavior that they do to either avoid trouble or to get the drop on somebody, something like that. So these are usually phrased as always or never or if then kinds of statements. So always command attention, which is like what you have, Jasper. Whenever you're in a situation where it's possible, you try to get everybody to pay attention to you. But it could very easily be, always choose the most violent option, or never draw a weapon against a fellow mouse, or something like that. There are ways that, again, like beliefs, if you play them, you'll earn fate points. They're just little like nudges mechanically towards playing your character a certain way.
Is that something we can update from the previous one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll want to update all three of those from the previous session, because I think that most of the spring has gone by. Maybe you've done a couple of missions between the last one and now. I think this is probably during the sort of rainy season in the spring where we catch up with the characters again. Some additional important bits of the character, traits. So again, like if you're familiar with Burning Wheel, these traits are a little bit more mechanical because they play into the structure of the game's GM and player turn. So we're going to go back and forth between my turn, and on my turn, I give you obstacles to overcome. I say, something is happening, you need to deal with it. And then you'll use your skills and abilities to overcome those obstacles. And then during the player turn, which you'll earn by finding safe haven for your characters, you'll get an opportunity to pursue your own stuff that you want to do, repairing your equipment, finding friends in the town that you're resting in, investigating things that are of interest to you. And the way that you earn currency to do those is by playing your character's traits. So go ahead and on your character sheet, you can clear all the used for and used against checks. And when we're playing, traits work two ways. You can use them to help you. So you can use them for things like re-rolling and adding extra dice, that kind of thing, depending on the level of the trait. Or you can use them against yourself. And that's what you're going to want to do to earn checks. So if you remember last time, like Jasper has traits that are like curious, foolish, and defender. I added in that we're keeping the wises in this section because there's no specific section for them. But, for curious, just doing something that you shouldn't do because you're curious, that'll earn you a check. But if you're making, say, like a scientist roll, and you can say, oh, I'm particularly curious about this subject, you can use it for yourself to gain an additional advantage. So you'll want to use these as often as possible. If you're coming up against an obstacle that you're pretty sure you can't make, you might as well throw it and use the trait against yourself to show us the way that your character sort of fails at those things. Mm-hmm. We'll take a look real quick at your abilities. These work pretty much just like in Burning Wheel, aside from nature. So every animal in the game of Mouse Guard has a nature. This represents how much like the animal that they are, they behave. So mice don't tend to like to put on cloaks and wield axes. They tend to like to run away and hide underground and avoid conflict. So by your very nature, you're a bit less mouse-like than your average mouse. Though you can always rely on your nature to do something that you don't know how to do. You don't have the right skill for. You can also spend points to tap into your nature to get extra dice. But your nature there's a risk there. So as your nature climbs, as you use nature, it improves as a stat. As it climbs, you become more and more like a mouse. And if it ever reaches 10, your character retires because they can't be in the guard anymore. They're just too mouse-like and not sort of, as we imagine, like human enough. But as your nature drops, you become less and less like a mouse and better at learning things like deceiving and fighting and oration, doing all these human things. And so you'll see a bit of a sort of balance between those two as we go on. And then beneath that, you have a list of all your skills. And these are what you will use to overcome the obstacles that will come up in front of you. So leave all the checks that you have for advancement in your skills. Anywhere you see advancement, just leave those checks because you've earned them. And I want to make sure you can advance as we go. And then just as a sort of last reminder, conditions are this game's version of hit points. So a member of the Mouse Guard doesn't have 10 hit points, and then when a weasel punches you in the face, you lose 3 of them. You have conditions. So as you come up against obstacles, from the GM side, when you fail, it's my job to decide either to introduce a twist. So you could, for example, be trying to get from one town to another. This is a real simple thing. The Guard does it all the time. You're constantly doing it. You're just out in the weather. And I'm going to make you make a Pathfinder test. If you fail, I have to choose either something goes wrong, there's a twist, some complication, now you have to deal with that before you can continue on to town, or I can inflict a condition. So I can say, yes, everyone arrives at town, but the trip took much longer than you thought, and you're all tired. Right? So I can use these to give you what you want, but also attach a cost to it. So all of that stuff, for the most part, the mechanisms are on the character sheet. When we do things like conflict, when we get into using the deck of cards and needing to resolve the conflict in a more granular way, you can take a look in the handout section. I've added a conflict handout that we can look at. There'll probably there's usually only one per kind of session or mission, but you can also pursue your own. And we use this same system for doing things like fighting. Were they crows or ravens last time? I can't remember.
They were crows.
They were crows, yeah. So you'd use this for driving off crows, but you'd also use it for dueling another mouse with swords, or arguing with them, or running away, or conducting war, or that kind of thing. So this game is technically like episode 2 in that we're revisiting the same characters, but Mouse Guard tends to be very very modular in the way that it's played. So each mission is kind of like an episode of a TV show. So we're going to be seeing the same characters. So if you tuned in before, you're going to be familiar with some of the tension the characters might have, some of the past history, but you're also going to get to see them in a totally new situation doing guard stuff. Which, now that I think of it, it would be adorable to see a Mouse Guard like cartoon. I would watch that.
Yeah, that'd be excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your characters individually, so we can sort out beliefs and instincts. So Jasper, let's start with you. Now, if you want to, you can keep your character's belief and instinct as they were, or if you want to try to explore a slightly different version of Jasper, you're welcome to change them up. How are you feeling about Jasper today? What kind of stuff do you want Jasper to do? Are you still like rah patriot Jasper, or do you want to try to like explore feeling like a little bit less certain of your job?
I think Jasper's still mostly interested in his sort of like Padawan situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Getting Lorelai to move up in rank.
Okay. Well, so there's
kind of his main goal.
Yeah, so that's actually a goal you can have, right? You can change your goal to I want Lorelai to earn. Lorelai's a her, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sudden
pronoun changes between episodes. Yeah, so you could change your goal to be make sure that Lorelai earns her cloak, and that's absolutely a good goal to have as a mentor. Now you can have a belief about Lorelai. You can have a belief about Walmond. Have a belief about the guard. Kind of anything like that. If we're gonna let's do beliefs, goals, and instincts all now. So I'll give you your mission first. So you've done a couple of sort of simple missions since the crows incident. And you've delivered mail. Mostly you've been operating in kind of the northern parts of the territory, so Thistledown, White Pine, kind of up in this area. But you were called back to Lockhaven for a mission of some import. Lockhaven is where you're from, right, Jasper? Yeah, you're like Mouse Guard born and raised. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you got to go home to Lockhaven, and normally that's not really how the guard works. Like normally you go out and you pick up missions from other guards, you get mail sent to you, but you stay out in the world. You only return to Lockhaven during winter, but it's still like late spring, summer's sort of coming on. And you're called back to Lockhaven, and Gwendolyn holds a meeting where many patrols gather to be addressed by her. And she talks about, there's a brief sort of speech about, the ramifications of the Weasel War and how, we all still bear the scars of that terrible conflict. But that, we still need to remain vigilant. And part of that vigilance is maintaining the scent border. So just to refresh everybody, the scent border is the line that sort of encircles the mouse territories. So you can see it along here and then up here near Port Sumac. And the science mice, particularly those in Spruce Tuck, brew up a special kind of scent fluid that they spread around the barrier to keep wolves and foxes and other animals from coming in. And in the advantage of having the scent border, it keeps them in the dark heather where the weasels have to deal with them. So it's a bit of a enemy of my enemy situation. And so Gwendolyn gives out missions sort of individually to a handful of patrols. And when it comes time for you to meet with her personally, Jasper, you outrank Walmond, right? Yeah, you're the patrol leader and Walmond is just a guard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Jasper, you're taken in to meet with Gwendolyn personally, and she has her her map of the territories on the table with the various carved wooden pawns. There's several sort of thick candles. I guess it'd be made out of beeswax because you wouldn't have like tallow. Yeah, so there's like wax candles burning, and she seems worried. Worried and tired when she sort of delivers the mission to you. She tells you that your mission, and this you can share with with Lorelei and with Wallman. This part is the mission that they're telling that everybody that you have is to go to Spruce Tuck and to stop there and to pick up some scent fluid and then to go west to the scent border. And she shows you on the map an area where the border needs to be reapplied. So it's like kind of right there. So she's like, this is what you're gonna do. And at first, if your patrol, if the guard, if any other mouse asks you, you're just there to repair the scent border. But you actually have a secret mission that you need to keep from your patrol until you reach the border. So there's a plan to retake some of the settlements that fell during the Weasel War, and she wants you to take Lorelei and Wellmond and to go beyond the scent border into the Dark Heather and scout out the Ferndale situation. So go to the ruins of Ferndale, take a look at it, recon the place, and then come back and let her know, whether it's feasible. Are there weasels there? Like, are there weasels living in Ferndale? And how many mice you think it'll take to go in there and to clear it out? Because they want to push the scent border west. It's time to start taking back what those weasels took from us.
Okay.
So that's your mission.
Oh, no.
And Wallmond and Lorelei. I guess my question is, Jasper, do you tell Lorelei and Wallman the whole? Are you just like, no, I'm just going to tell them the whole mission, or like how much of the mission do you tell your fellow mice?
That's a good question, actually. Would I do that?
It's entirely up to you.
Let me take a look at who I am for a second.
Who am I?
Who am I?
Who is Jasper? Jasper the guard's mouse.
I kind of feel like he would.
Yeah? So you're just like, we have a secret mission, team.
Thing. Yeah, I feel like he'd be like really excited about it and like not even think twice and just be like, okay, you guys, guess what? This is what we're doing.
You're just so excited to have a secret mission.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think he would totally just
okay, cool.
lay it all out.
All right, so when writing your goals, Lorelei and Wallmond, you have the full breadth of information. You can write a goal about that. You can write a goal, something crazy like kill a weasel.
Kill a weasel.
But that's the plan, yeah. To go up to Ferndale, repair the scent border, but also go beyond it into enemy territory and scout it out. So everybody can rewrite their belief and their instinct, and they can write themselves a new goal that you would like to accomplish during this session. Or if you like, if your character is still believing and instincting in the same way, you can keep those. But it might be fun to try and mix it up.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're gonna do with yours, Lorelei B Bottom? Heiress to the B Bottom name.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, we're rich.
Yeah, you're the B Bottoms. Come on.
Yeah.
The Copperwood B Bottoms.
The Copperwood bee bottoms. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna mix up my belief. Gosh, this would be like you joined the army just following Vietnam, and then your sergeant is like, yo, we're going to Vietnam now.
Yeah. How do you kids feel about a covert mission to Cambodia that no one's allowed to talk about? Yeah, we're actually playing Mouse Guard Black Ops.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Like this is
Kind of.
intense. And weasels are like 3 times as big as mice. They're like these giant Saracen killing
Huge
machines.
and terrifying. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
like
true.
shit is intense.
They literally eat mouse babies. That's literally a thing they do. It's not even propaganda.
Yeah, that's just they're
Science.
weasels.
It's nature. That's what happened. They're weasels.
Weasels.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
This game where you play as weasels.
Yeah. So what do you think for your belief? Is it going to be something about like the dark heather or about weasels in particular?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be about how I'm scared shitless of weasels.
Yeah, that's fair. So like weasels are terrifying and like something about I mean you could write an instinct like always hide from weasels.
I guess it's like weasels are killing machines. We um 'cause beliefs don't need to be
yeah, it doesn't have to be
right?
actualized. You can just say weasels are killing machines, and as long as you act on it.
Yeah. I'll make it a little. There's nothing more terrifying to
That's fantastic. I love it.
me than a weasel.
So I just grabbed a picture of a weasel to show chat.
And like the other
I'll link
thing
it.
is, my character has. When I was given the option, there was like I could choose between some like history thing and knowing like legends of the guard.
Right.
And so like my character was raised on all these stories of like people being heroic, but also of like how like the weasels in the story are exaggerated in the same way. So they're like extra evil and extra baby eating and gigantic and terrifying.
Yeah.
And so Lorelei has this whole like mythological notion of what they're like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like extra scared.
Yeah, I love it.
Weasels.
Cool. Okay. And then how do you feel about your instinct? So your instinct used to be always provide my opinion, even when it isn't asked for.
I like that instinct a lot. I think I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
It's real good, especially when we're like going on a covert mission where I'm terrified of weasels. I'm just gonna be like, no, we shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. It's all real bad.
Yeah, I'm into it. Okay.
I don't want to be in the army anymore.
Okay. And what's your goal?
Oh God. Don't die. Just remain alive at the end.
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty like built-in goal. If you don't get it, you can't enjoy the persona points you don't have.
No, I think I might. So I'm going to need another minute to figure this out, but
Sure.
essentially I'm going to do something along the lines of either trying to like convince everyone to like not actually do the mission or yeah, in some way like try to cut things short so that we're less exposed.
Okay, cool. All right, that sounds good. Okay. How about you, Walmond? How do you feel about your belief, goal, and instinct?
Okay, so I think I'm kind of maintaining the same belief, but I'm rewriting it a little bit because I want to basically say that I think like the Mouse Guard's wars and violence can't solve the problems of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And to that effect, I want to continue with the goal of like sort of looking out for Lorelei.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I'm like pumped about the fact that Lorelei is so scared of weasels. So because this is like an opportunity to like definitively steer her off
Yeah,
the
right? Oh god, that's like
the Mouse Guard.
so you'd be the one you'd be like
So
instead
I'm
of
gonna be-
saving her from the weasel, you'd be like, no, it's scary, isn't it? Uh-oh, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be like drumming up how scary they are, like until we encounter them, and hopefully using that to demonstrate how silly everything is.
Awesome.
And then the only thing that's somewhat contradictory is my instinct, which I think I want to be like whenever a fight is forced upon us, even though I'm never the one to start one, I will do everything in my power to end it like utterly, mercilessly, violently.
I
That
was
sort of
yeah, I was gonna say like you try to avoid a fight as long as you can, but as soon as a fight happens, you're like, this is not gonna last. I'm gonna put this down.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, because like
Um,
Wallman fought in the Weasel War, right? So some of that like history is coming back, where he's just like going to these places where he saw all his friends die face down in the muck and stuff. Like,
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so when a fight's forced, then you end it utterly and mercilessly. Yeah, mercilessly. I like that. Cool. Okay. And you'll do so with your mouse guard staff. Cool. You're like the old kung fu master. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, use Lorelai's fear of weasels to steer her from the path of the mouse guard. I love it. Like, and this is what tends to happen, right? Like you can play this game pretty like subtext free. You can just be like, "Yay, we're gonna go out and save the world and be mouse guards and stuff." But I find that most of the time when I play it, I would play it with folks who are like politically savvy or like well read enough to be like, "This is kind of dark. Let's take it to a weird place and be like, yeah, I'm gonna convince you not to join the guard, and this is bad. Like everything is terrible. Let's try to work on it." I love it. Cool. And then you want to keep your belief. Yeah, wars and violence can't solve the problems of our world. Rad. I love it. Progressive old mouse.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. And then Jasper, you got a new. I love. See, Jasper's a perfect foil to Wallman because Jasper is that character. Jasper's like, no, the guard is rad, and we should be guard mice.
Yeah.
like your belief is literally just like, yes, do it. Do
Yeah,
the thing.
do it. Well, my belief is that it's our duty to keep the lands safe.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that means, we get there and it's a total lost cause and it's not worth it to anger the weasels further and we just do the initial job, or if it's worth it, then we do that. He's going to be like very, his choice is going to be obvious once it presents itself.
Yeah, cool. I like it. All right, cool. So everybody's got. Did you decide on a goal, Lorelai? Yeah, you got one now.
yeah, so I'm just writing it up. I added a second bit to my belief. I said, "There's nothing to me more terrifying than a weasel, and this is a suicide mission." And so my goal is going to be to keep an eye out for weasels and spot them before they see us.
Okay. So your goal is to spot the weasels. Okay, cool.
I'm assuming that we're going to bump into some, but
Yeah,
basically,
after all this build up, I'm just like, nah, there's no weasels. There's none at all.
just like a ghost town. I mean, that could be equally creepy, but yeah, Lorelai wants to make sure that we don't get ambushed or whatever else. Like she's very aware of very overly aware of the danger, and so yeah, she wants to try to make sure nothing bad happens.
Cool. All right. So with your mission from Gwendolyn in hand, you need to set out into the wilderness and head for Spruce Tuck to obtain the scent border material that you need. So you leave the great fortress of Lockhaven behind, and head out into the world. There's a fair bit of like, it's sort of the wet season, so you head out and the trees are all sort of still covered from rain from the night before. It's sort of gray. It's not cold as much, but it's damp. Everything is wet. There's like mushrooms growing on all of the tree stumps. You're having to constantly like reroute around puddles, and there's the threat of a storm basically looming over you the whole trip. So who's going to lead the journey to Spruce Tuck?
That's going to be a Pathfinder roll.
Yeah.
I have Pathfinder rank 2 and have never rolled it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I have a 3.
Walmond or Jasper was doing it before.
Yeah, I feel like that's predominantly how we were doing it. Do you want to turn it over to do you want to let the little tenderpaw lead this time? Come Come on, you're all totally like healthy. It'll be fine, right? All right. It sounds like it sounds like Lorelai is gonna take the lead
Where are we
anyway.
going? Are we like going to the next town, or are we like fast forwarding to?
Yeah, it'll be
Because-
the entire travel. This is the Indiana Jones with the little red line going like
Okay.
down to
Okay.
from Lockhaven to
Just
Spruce
Spruce Tuck, right?
Yeah, just to Spruce Tuck.
All right.
Okay. So for a Pathfinder test, it is. I'd call this a long journey. It's a well-traveled route. So that means the destination and the route together. The obstacle is 4. Ob 4. So you're gonna need a little help, Lorelai. So Lorelai, you begin with a pool of 2 dice to accomplish this very difficult task. Now, as with Burning Wheel, whenever anyone makes a roll, if you would like to hitch your wagon to their success or failure, you can help with similar skills or with other skills, like the same skill or skills that can help, like Weather Watcher, Scout, Hunter. If you have an appropriate Wise, you could use that to sort of backseat them successfully onward.
Are y'all gonna help, or is this very much
Yeah.
okay? You're ready. Go
Absolutely.
for it, Lorelai.
I can probably help with instructor.
So instructor is specifically for teaching someone skills you have, not for instructing them in the making of tests. But if you earn some checks when you get to Spruce Tuck, instructor is a really useful thing to spend your checks on, because you can be like, I'm going to use this check to instruct Lorelai on how to be a better Pathfinder next time.
Okay.
Instructor is after the failure.
Then how about survivalist?
Yeah, absolutely. Survivalist definitely helps. Walmond, are you going to help, or are you just going to follow along grumblingly?
Are you gonna be muted?
Walmond the Silent.
Damn it. No, I'm not gonna help.
Oh.
Okay. So, Lorelai, this means you can't succeed at this roll. You have 3 dice, and it is a 4-ob roll. So, do you have? I mean, you definitely do. Do you have a? Do you have a trait you'd like to earn checks from?
Sure, I will use impetuous against myself.
Okay.
So yeah, like Jasper is trying to help me, but I'm doing that thing where I'm like, no, I can do it. Like I'm totally ignoring a lot of the advice or help that Jasper is providing.
Yeah.
And so
I love the mental image of this, of like, you're setting out and there's like huge fat raindrops kind of like falling off the trees, and then everybody stops at the like first kind of crossroads and like looks around, and then Lorelai's like, I got this.
yeah, no, we should go this way. And I'm like, because we're kind of heading vaguely towards Copperwood, I'm like talking like I know the area, because Copperwood's where I came from, and so it's like, part of the road that we're taking would be like the road to Copperwood.
Right.
And so yeah, like she's very confident starting out because it's all familiar, and maybe it is fine in the part that I know, but then as soon as there's like the fork in the road right here, it's just like I'm like leaving my comfort zone. And then it all starts going south. And like Jasper is trying to help me, and I'm just like very stubbornly like, no, I can do this. I need to do this. I need to like prove myself. It's just ridiculous. And so yeah, the last half of the trip to like Elmas is ridiculous.
So you when your impetuousness gets in your way, you can invoke the trait to impede, so to gain 1 check. You just lose a die, which it's not going to help you anyway. You can earn 2 checks, but only when you're up against an opponent who's also rolling. So you can hurt your chances by giving them 2 extra dice, or you can break a tie in your opponent's favor with that trait.
But yeah, in this case,
yeah,
I'm just giving myself -1, basically canceling out Jasper's help by being a little
yeah, right, with your impetuousness. So I'm curious. So Lorelai, do you? I guess because there's some stuff going on here. Like Walmond and Jasper, what are your Pathfinder ranks? What do you have?
Mine's 3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay. So what? I guess my curiosity is like how lost do you let Lorelai get you before you like either of you step in?
I'm content to just let this go, like definitely. I have no motivation to see the mission through or anything that.
I feel like the more we see of Wellman, the more you're he's the Ron Swanson of the Mouse Guard. You're just like, I don't even care about the mission. The longer this takes, the better. Cause
it's defeating the Mouse Guard's silly, foolish imperative.
The least amount of government work to get done as possible.
Red. Okay. All right. So Wellman doesn't step in. Wellman is just like, whatever.
Nope.
Okay. So what about you, brave leader? When do you step in and say like, hey, maybe we need to turn around?
I'd say we'd probably get like almost all the way to Copperwood, just because Jasper would be like distracting himself with. He's just like constantly like talking over Lorelai and talking over
right.
Wellman and like fussing about everything.
So there's a little bit of like your maybe you don't even realize that you took a wrong turn somewhere. Okay.
I kind of like put my trust in her and just like spaced out. But then I start to see like weird like the types of ferns start changing and I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't look familiar because I know the area pretty well. I'm just like scatterbrained.
I like it. Okay. All right. Well, let's make the roll. So unlike Burning Wheel, the character sheets don't have the roll built into them, so you can just use the roll macro that I put together for us last time.
Right. I have it right here.
Yeah, this little button. You can click it and tell how many dice you have.
2.
Yeah. Well,
I got a success.
I mean, you got a success. Congratulations. Okay, so you fail the roll. So now as a GM, I get to decide whether to complicate things with a twist, which of course this early I'm definitely going to do. Or I could be like, yeah, you get there, but now you're angry and you're tired. Because that would also work, right? Like I could be like, your character, you're angry because you're mad that you're embarrassed and get angry about it. This is one thing that is a little bit subtle about Mouse Guard and kind of the way it plays is that it specifically says in the book like you lose control of your character for a little bit if you fail because the GM can say, yeah, you do this, like this happens to you.
You screw up in this way.
Yeah. So I'm gonna introduce a twist. So I think when you realize that it started to get dark one night and you realize that you've taken a wrong turn somewhere. And you're actually not really sure where you are, Jasper. You're like, you could be like up here maybe, or like on the road to Copperwood, but you didn't see a sign. And there's supposed to be a sign here, but maybe the water washed it out. So you're somewhere in the kind of general vicinity of Elmos or Shelbro or something. And the sort of dark clouds, the like pregnant sky decides it's time now for the storm. And I think, at that moment, you realize like, oh, maybe we should make camp. It's like a peal of thunder, and it starts to rain. It starts to pour these like huge, like head-sized raindrops down all around you, and like a cold wind starts to blow, and you realize like, this is a bad time. This is the kind of storm you'd want to be in town to weather. Mm-hmm. So dealing with the storm is something you have to do. How are you going to do that? Are you going to try to like hold out? Are you going to press on? Like what's the plan?
Well, not knowing how far along we actually are.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, okay, question.
Sure.
About hidey holes.
Yeah. Look at you and your hidey hole wise.
How big are they? Is it something that you could spend a night in, or is it specifically just like a tiny hole that you can hide in for a short amount of time?
I mean, you're the one with hidey hole wise. I mean, my interpretation of that phrase is a hole in which you hide. So, right. I mean, if you're hiding from a storm, hidey hole wise is the kind of thing that you could use for sure.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Then I totally want to find a hidey hole.
So what's cool about wises? So wises are, unlike in Burning Wheel, they're not a skill. They're something you use to essentially, like I said before, like backseat somebody else who's making the roll, and it insulates you from harm. So if they were to fail, you're not subject to their failure. You're just being like, that's
Because
not
you
a
just gave them advice.
yeah. You're
right?
like, that's not a good hole. We need to find another one. This one not structurally sound. Go find me another one. And they're like, well, why don't you find them? So somebody else. So I guess, is that what you proposed? You're like, we need to find a hole to hide in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically, Lorelai, find a hole.
Okay, well, I have Scout, so I could go looking for one.
Yeah.
And is this something where Wallman would pitch in now, or is he just so misanthropic that he'll die in the storm?
Just stand there freezing.
No, no. I think I'm uncomfortable, so like I'm happy to get shelter. But I think like sort of murmur something like, yeah, we should dig a hole, but of course, you know what likes holes, likes living in the hidey holes. And then I just sort of like
There's like a dramatic flash of lightning.
yeah, I don't finish or anything. Just look at Lorelai like
Significantly, yeah.
Crickets?
Yeah, and Lorelai's just like, Beatles? And then like there's this long pause where she realizes you weren't talking about Beatles, and then just like goes a little dark. Fine, I'll go look around. But then yeah, how is Wallman still gonna help?
Yeah, I'm gonna help if I can.
Okay, so who's making this test? You are, Lorelai?
I'll make it
Oh,
using
and-
Scout.
So Scout is for finding hidden things, not for finding shelter. Scout would be like if you were looking for a weasel hiding in said hole. Survivalist is the test that you use for finding shelter.
So someone else can do survivalist, and then I can do laborer, where I'm like shoring it up or
Yeah,
some other stuff to make it suitable to weather the storm in. Would that be fair?
yeah. I have survivalist, so
Cool. So Wallman's leading. I'm helping with survivalist, and Jasper is helping with hidey hole wise.
Yeah, I mean, if had we played this longer than 2 sessions, I would probably pull the loot crane and be like, you already said you're doing it. You volunteered. It's your plan. You got to roll. But that's okay.
Well, I don't
I know,
actually
you'll fail
have any
again.
skills to do it, so I
Yeah.
can't.
So maybe there is that moment where Lorelai's like, you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm looking for.
yeah. And I'm like, are you sure you want me to do this?
Like,
could just
you're
turn
like
back.
looking at a hole nearby and just being like, look how dark and scary it is.
That one's great, but a weasel will get in there.
No, not this hole. Smells like weasels. All right. Okay. So you can help. You can definitely help with with laborer by like clearing once you find a suitable hole.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's see. You're finding shelter from a storm. I'm gonna say for the whole patrol. Let's say Ob 3 survival test.
Okay, how did you say we roll again?
Oh, there's a macro I set up. If you look under my name, no one on stream can see it because our cameras are in the way. There's a little button that says roll. If you don't have that, you can access it by going to the macros section. It's up in the top right, the little gear. There's a roll macro. You can click next to it in bar and then click show macro quick bar. And that'll just ask you how many dice you want to
Got
roll,
it.
and I'll do all the rolls for you.
Cool.
All right, so let's go through. So you've got how many survivalist dice do you have?
2.
2, okay. Also, make sure that as you're making these tests, mark your success or failure on your sheet, because that's how you get better. Okay, so you've got your number of dice. You've got. Are you going to use your hidey hole wise, Jasper?
Yes.
Good call. It's literally like the whole purpose of having it. Okay, so Jasper is providing oversight, and then you've got another. So you'll have 4 dice total.
Okay.
Oh, that is a bad roll. Okay. So here's the thing. I think that you start to search for a hidey hole, and the rain has come on fast enough, and the ground is already like wet and muddy enough that all of the hidey holes around here, all the places you could hide from the rain are already full of water. They're flooded. They're like mud choked, and you realize that like your normal go-to, like scampering into a hole in the ground, not gonna happen this time. You need to weather the storm another way. So I think here you have to travel in the storm. You have to get somewhere safe that isn't here, whether it's like upland somewhere, but there definitely has to be some movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You gotta get out of here. This whole maybe you realize you're in a little valley, and like this whole valley's gonna flood if you don't get out of here.
Right, and we're like wandering around in the dark with the lightning and shouting over the wind and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Fuck it, I can do better than that. We'll get more aggressive. So while you're searching, I think you find a hole that's like not totally flooded yet, and Lorelei gets in there with her little paws and is like pulling some twigs away, and they get stuck, and so you like get down in there and like wrap your little adorable paws around it, you're all mud streaked, and you like yank at the like root that's stuck in the way, and when you do, a bunch of like mud and pebbles and stuff that were like lodged behind the root come flooding out and like sweep you up, and this like torrent of like mud and rocks, this mudslide grabs Lorelei and sweeps her away into this like stream basically. And so Lorelei lets out a yelp, and the two of you see her disappear into the like muddy water. She gets pulled away. So what are you gonna do?
No. No. I chase after her.
Okay, all right. So you're just gonna like run after her? What's your plan here? And Walmond, what are you doing?
I think as soon as I watch this transpire and Jasper take off running, I just grumble. Well, this is off to a good start. And then I like reluctantly start jogging after Jasper just to observe whatever.
Man, I got the worst assignment ever.
Yeah, don't worry about the weasels. You'll drown first.
Oh my god.
So so we're getting like this sort of pace where you're running alongside, and the water is like tumbling Lorelei around, and and everything is just like a total mess.
Because we're on like a little bit of a hillside or something, and so there's like this little channel of water I got swept into. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for perspective, is this like creek-sized for people? Like,
so yeah, someone in chat asked this too. So the world of Mouseguard is sized as the actual world is. So like everything related to mice is the same way it would be as if you were living in a human world. There have never been humans. There are no humans. None of that exists. So when I say a tree, it's like miles and miles around. You know, when we talk about like a river, it's not an actual river, because an actual river would be like impossible to see the other side of for you.
Yeah, that's like bigger than the ocean.
Yeah, it's like oceanic. And then the actual ocean, fuck it. Yeah. So it's like, I would say this is like river sized if you were humans. You know, you're swept away into the middle of it. But it's
this
more
is a
like
thing that like wasn't there 10 minutes ago, right? Like this river has formed because all those waters just come down and start.
Yeah, it's a very, very like thick, like it's a thin mudslide or a very muddy river.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do? You gotta save your tender paw.
You gotta make a little boat out of a leaf and then like roll down the river and try to rescue me.
Yeah, Jasper would like as he's running at full speed, just try to grab like something else that's floating, like a stick or a leaf or something like that, and just like hop onto it and surf it.
And just try to like get out there and okay, all right,
as quick as possible.
Okay, sure. Okay, well, there's no Legolas style leaf surfing skill.
No.
So this sounds like a health test. You're using your muscles, your Jaspery muscles. Walmond, are you gonna assist?
Yeah, I'm not sure how, like physically, but I was thinking like my weather watcher skill may have like bring me experience with this sort of event
Mm-hmm.
in some way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Weather Watcher means you could have seen this coming had you had a little bit more forethought and
Yeah.
you weren't like looking down all the time. You could have been like, this is dangerous. You could have seen the flooding come, but yeah, you definitely like dealing with flooding and stuff. Weather Watcher is something that can help for
Because
sure.
we can be like, oh yeah, like there's a bit of a better like way, like place over that way, or like you can kind of
Yeah.
help us like navigate through
Yeah,
this.
this is not Wallman's first time at the mudslide rodeo, so
Yeah.
okay. Well, let's roll to see how that goes. So let me take a quick look to see. Just I want to make sure there isn't a more like appropriate skill because I'm wondering about how help works. Yeah, no. So it's a health test, and you're helping with your health as well, Wallman. So you'd have to like physically do something. You're informed by your Weather Watcher skill, but to help, you have to physically like do a thing about like grab a stick or like something like that.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay, so I'm gonna say the ob here, and obviously, I mean, Lorelai, what are you doing? You've been swept away. You're like mouthful of like muddy water. You're being like jostled by all these rocks.
I'm probably just like struggling to stay afloat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think Lorelai has like the experience or presence of mind to really know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
mean, they
she's
don't
just,
teach
like,
you how to not
where,
drown in mud at mouse school.
They're just like, you're going to be in a town where we've already dealt with this problem, or you're
That's right.
dead to us.
Yeah. Okay, so so you can help with your health as well. I'm gonna say rescuing. It's a pretty steep ob. Let's say ob 4 to rescue Lorelai. How much health do you have, Jasper? You're pretty healthful, right?
I think so. 4.
Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so you've got 6 dice to roll because you've got your health and then the other 2.
Okay. That's total pool then, is 6.
Yeah, I think because we just do all the math ourselves and then throw it on. Ooh, oh boy!
What?
It looks like Thursday's curse might still be sticking around.
Ah, the mouse gods.
All right, so yeah, RNGesus is a weasel. Let's take a break here, and I'll think about how to inflict further pain on you. And maybe when we come back, y'all can roll successfully. But make sure to mark failed health test there. So you get that.
Yeah.
You get a point of you're moving towards your health, but you also failed. Cool. Okay,
I'm
so
going to die.
I'll ponder that. Yeah, totally. That's actually like, yeah, I'll just be like, cool, Andrew, you're dead. Get off the show. Fuck off. Go do something else. No, I
Fine.
promise I won't do that. I'm a better GM than that. All right, stick around, and we will see what happens with this failed rescue mission when we get back.
Lord.
See you soon, everybody.